With the spots in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup on the line, Southampton and West Ham prepare for the battle of the fifth round on Wednesday evening. Southampton head into the encounter on the back of a 2-0 Premier League win over Norwich City, while David Moyes' side overcame Wolverhampton Wanderers 1-0 at home. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. I am Anton, joined by Matt and Lukey Boy. It's the FA Cup, lads. It's the FA Cup. By your faces, I can tell you're buzzing. Not. Your Lucky Boy first, mate. How you feeling about it?
I was feeling semi-confident. It's a Premier League team away from home. Southampton tend to be a bit of a dodgy team with their consistency in the league, and it depends how much we want it as well. But I think I watched a part of David Moyes' press conference today or yesterday, and his answer didn't fill me with any confidence, unfortunately. He's gone from being a bloke who was like, this is what I do, I win, that's it, to being a guy where everyone wants to win, don't they? You know what I mean? It's a bit difficult. You know, we've got to wait all up. We're going well. We'll have to see what happens in the next couple of years.
Really? You took that from the from the presser?
I did.
Mate,
I think
what is going on?
I think I'm the only one, to be fair. Well, yeah,
Matt, FA Cup, 5th round, mate. We're still fighting on all fronts in 3 competitions. But Southampton up next. Give me your brief thoughts before we get into Southampton.
This has kind of thrown me off a bit, because I literally had no idea. Like, my dad said to me like Saturday, "Oh yeah, the FA Cup game's like Wednesday," and I was like, "They're just like, what is this? What we're doing now to like make the schedule even shorter? Like traditional FA Cup, like Saturday 3 o'clock. Nah, bin that off. You can when like the Wednesday night is like the frigging replay. That's the replay days. That's not that. It's." You know what? It's just grumpy old man. This isn't like developing with the times. Like, no, it's too many games. We've got to fit them in. It's like, you know, like every ounce and shred of like historic value of the cup's just slowly fading away for money. It's as it goes though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh well, you're buzzing. You're buzzing. It makes you know what, for once. It makes a change for once that you're buzzing though. "Quote unquote" big 6 teams. One of us can get the quarter final. So, from that perspective, it's great. Well, at least you're bloody buzzing for once, mate. Matt, can you even hear me, mate? Can you even hear me?
Yeah.
He just chooses to ignore me. No, that's fine, mate. I'm only messing. Listen, while we're here, let's go and talk Southampton. Right, so Mr. Ralph Hasenhüttl is back with Southampton as West Ham travel to the St Mary's in the FA Cup. There's a bit of a resurgence going on with Southampton just now, Matt.
Unbeaten in 6.
Yeah.
They haven't lost since like January at some point. They lost to Wolves. They're a weird. I don't mean this in a nasty way. They're a weird team because I still think like every season I think, you know what, they could actually do well. Like they always seem to have the basis. They scout and recruit well. Hasenhüttl's like shown time and again whenever he's come up against like, you know, the 9-0 hammerings, you think, oh, that's it, you've lost 9-0, you're getting sacked. And he comes back. They've got good players, they play a good way. You know, like even this summer, like they lost Danny Ings this summer, but they got in Broja from Chelsea. Hasn't made, like they haven't missed losing him for like that 25 million. But then they always seem to have like, I don't know, they're like a Jekyll and Hyde team. But they go on like a run of form where they play really well. But then they'll have a run of form where they're just like atrocious. You know, they got Ward-Prowse, everyone's buzzing, everyone's talking about at the moment. A guy I think we've all on this channel been said we take at West Ham for years. And he's now starting to get like the media attention. You know, the guy's turning into like, I think he's now second on the all-time free kick list behind David Beckham.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Premier League goal.
Good player. Yeah,
really
good player.
You know, as I said, they're a weird team. But when they're in form, like they're really on it. They're really in form.
But you could have you make that point though about, you know, them as a team. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one because, you know, they've had some of the heaviest losses in the Premier League, but now recently have taken 10 points in the last 6. From the last 12 on offer in the Premier League, and their unbeaten streak in all competition now stands at 6 matches, like you've said. So they're well in place, you know, to challenge at something. And last time out when they played West Ham, they done us over. But they've kind of, you know, he's been in the market and he's found some diamonds in the rough. And one player in particular is Salisu, the centre half. I mean, he's banging centre half, isn't he? Look,
as I said to you, look, their recruitment is, you know, pick him out. He's come out. I think I want to say it wasn't this year. I reckon he was there last year, but he's one of the ones that's had time to develop. And you know, I say they lost Vestergaard. Did they lose him? They got really good money for him. Leicester are already regretting it, and clearly they knew. You know what? We ain't worried about him going. We got this guy coming in. They brought in Livramento again. They brought him from Chelsea as a right back, and everyone was a bit like, I'm bet Chelsea regret letting him go now for as cheap as they did, because he's like, I think he's only 18, 19, but he's hit the Premier League ground running. So much so that the other right back's now playing left back. You know, Walker Peters at the moment's filling in there. One that Tottenham let go, and yet they've not really had a solid right back since. You know, I think they've got Emerson Royale and Dockett at the moment who can't really do the job between them. They let Aurier go. They actually released him on a free, and yet Walker Peters has played consistently for him since. Elianusi has come back from Celtic. He was literally written off. Wasn't going to be good enough. Done a year on loan at Celtic last year. He had a very good game against us. Said you've got Ward-Prowse dictating the middle of the pitch. Up front, they got options. Che Adams.
Well, they do. They you know, on that, and I'll give you this one. Look. What do you think of Che Adams in particular? You know, he's a player I've been keeping an eye on over the last little while, and the last couple of times I've been down to the games, a couple of people have been saying, "Listen, I would spend money on a quality player like him, a big centre half who does cause a lot of problems. He's not banging in loads of goals in the league, but he's assisting a lot of goals as well, and he can cause defenses a lot of problems." What do you think of a striker like him?
Well, it's funny, and people who play FIFA will laugh at me saying this, but I first discovered him playing FIFA 18 career mode. He was like one of the quickest players in the championship, and I bought him for like 10 million. I loved him, and then I thought to myself, I wonder if he's ever gonna actually come to the Premier League, and he did, and he come with Southampton. I think the first contribution he ever made in the Premier League was getting kicked in the head by Craig Dawson, which is quite a introduction to the league. He looks actually on his day really good quality. He's quite a good finisher. I think what the most thing I was quite surprised with, because his stature, I don't think he's that big. I mean, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but he seems quite stocky and sort of average height. But he reminds me a little bit of Antonio, the way he sort of shrugs defenders off. And I've been quite impressed. Everyone's been talking about Broja as being a young up and coming Chelsea player they've got on loan who's looking like their main threat up top to get the goals. But I think he's one of them players who's quite a hard working player. So his contributions don't go under the radar, if you know what I mean. And as far as I know, I don't really follow Scottish football or Scottish national football, but he plays quite well for Scotland as well. So it'd probably be one of them games where he probably starts in the FA Cup as well. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure he's actually a complete starter in the Premier League. I could be proved wrong on that one. But their whole front line's quite tasty. It's going to be something that we've got to try and contend with tomorrow. But yeah, I like Adams. I'm not sure would I spend too much money on him, but he looks like he'd be a perfect Moyes player. But then again, we were saying that about 100 players in January and didn't get anyone. So what's the guarantee we'd even get him in the summer if we tried?
I know. And then obviously, Matt, you mentioned Broja. I mean, he's come in and he's just hit the ground running really at Southampton. Just like a lot of actually Chelsea loanees as well. He's got 6 goals this season. And he's really effective for the side. He's going to cause West Ham a lot of problems, isn't he?
Oh, well, I mean, he bullied us the first game, didn't he? I'm sure that game he was almost like a lone front man at times, and we just could not contend with him. I can't remember who played centre back for us that game. I'm not gonna lie, I can look it up quick, try to look it up, but he's a handful, and he got. I'm kind of surprised. I'm not, because they've spent probably over 140 million combined or something stupid on Timo Werner and Lukaku. It might be 120, 130 million. So they're not going to bench him for the kid who's an up and comer. But the way he plays at the moment is he probably would start for Chelsea, because they want this ball into feet, but they want they want a combination of Lukaku and Werner as centre forward, and that seems to be what he is. He looks like a big old lump, but he's good with his feet. He's good in the air. He's got good strength, and he's got good pace. He probably is what David Moyes wants. We've been saying for ages about this, this mystical David Moyes wants this, and this, and he's sort of found it in Antonio, but Antonio isn't a natural finisher. This is the one centre forward that David Moyes would want, and it looks like him. I'm not being funny. If I remember back to a West Ham game, he's quick, but the guy's 6'3". He's a real handful, and I don't know who Southampton's scouting system to get him in. The only disappointment for them, I'm sure it is going to be a disappointment, is that it wasn't like a loan to buy, because they've probably got very limited chance of getting it back again next season. Would we be in for him? Yeah, would Chelsea?
I think. Well, apparently, the rumor was at one point that we were supposedly in for him. But I mean, he's not going to go. I mean, the thing is, realistically, how many players go away on loan from Chelsea, do well, come back, and then start from Chelsea? It's very few and far between. So what they'll probably be doing is looking for a fee for a player of his quality. Luke, what are you going to say, mate?
Well, I mean, they sold Abraham, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, He's done really well in Italy, He'd probably be top goal scorer in Chelsea's team right now.
What do you think, Luke?
I wasn't actually going to say anything, to be fair, but I would actually say that the whole thing with Chelsea would fit Chelsea's system a lot better than Lukaku has apparently done this season. But Chelsea don't run it like it's not a football farm. It's a football business where they're just literally going to go, right, even if this guy could be top quality, doesn't matter. We can get 20 million for him, 30 million for him. We're going to sell him. So that's what they do. It's a really strange one with Chelsea, because they seem to be a selling club, but at the same time they're a successful club. So,
especially now that they haven't got any money.
But yeah, watch your space, basically.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But listen, let me talk you through Southampton's run in the Cup. They beat Swansea back on the 8th of January, 3-2 away from home, thanks to goals from Nathan Redmond, El Nussi, and Shane Long, that got them through into the 4th round, where they took on Coventry City at home, winning the game 2-1 on the 5th of February, thanks to goals from Stuart Armstrong and Kyle Waters-Peters, which went to extra time. it's going to be the romance of the cup, and I get what Matt's saying as well. It's on a Wednesday evening, which kind of takes away that kind of glossiness of maybe the FA Cup vibe. But I think come the game tomorrow, we'll start to feel the kind of the buzz around it. Matt, do you see, before we move on to West Ham, do you see them putting out full strength, Southampton going full strength, considering, they're pretty much, they're safe?
This is the sort of position that we normally find ourselves in, and we don't. I would be very surprised if they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get the league table up. They're nowhere near.
They're ninth
any sort
with 35
of realms
points.
of relegation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how high up the table they are. I mean, they're still
they're,
what?
Matt, honestly don't think Matt, I don't think you can hear me, mate. Can you hear me?
You said Southampton. Yeah.
I'm talking as well.
I can't when you're talking. No, I can't hear you. I'm talking.
All right. So they're ninth in the league with 35 points. So they're 14 points from safety and 10 points from West Ham.
So could they make a late push? I suppose really could make a late push for Europe, but this is the opportunity for a team like that. Like this, what us would normally be, where you go, you're not going to go up. You're not going to go down. You might maybe push to seventh. They should be throwing everything at it.
Yeah, and I think they will.
They should be going like full strength.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Southampton, Luke, who's the player you fear the most?
Got to be JWP, innit? I think as much as we are good at our own set pieces, I think it's been proved in the last 10 games that we are quite susceptible to set pieces against us. Not going to go into too much detail, but I saw the Wolves game. I was watching the Wolves game, and a few set pieces they had, we looked a bit on edge, let's say, when the ball went in the box. And he's got the ability. I think, honestly, in a lot of ways, Southampton's good run of form / resurgence, like you were talking about, has come from Ward-Prowse and his free kicks, because I think it's just that danger that at any point you give him the ball for a free kick. Almost like when we had Pyatt, it could go in, and they've always got that in their locker. And I think he's the players around him. Yeah,
they scored one. It was a nothing free kick, was it? They had a free kick like out on the wing. It was like 40, 45 yards out, and you thought, in fairness, that's not a bad position to wear a free kick. And he's just so good. He just one of the centre backs. Was it Bednarek? They just put it on his head.
Yeah,
like an inch perfect free kick, like 40 yards out, and it was in the bottom corner.
Yeah,
it's a hidden. What do you want to call it? Hidden weapon, if you like.
Yeah, it's the biggest weapon in their arsenal, I think, at the moment.
He's coming, but you can't stop it. That's the threat. So
Yep, absolutely. Right, listen. Let's move on to our beloved West Ham. We've talked enough about Southampton tonight, so let's move on to our beloved West Ham. So it's time to talk West Ham, and let's go and take a little brief look at what David Moyes said in his presser. I did do the press conference show earlier on, but we'll go take a little look and see what the gaffer had to say today. We're going to cover a few points then. I've seen that, seen your ears getting destroyed there, Luke. So apologies for that. So Moyes went on and spoke about his team news. He said it's the usual sort of thing you get from managers. We've got many players fit and available, and hopefully we'll be fine. So, the amount of times that we've done these shows and we've dissected David Moyes' press conference, and by dissecting his press conference, we've been able to pick little things out of it and know who might be able to play and who might not be able to play. However, David Moyes has obviously picked up on the fact that people do that, and he doesn't give anything away anymore. So it's really, really tough to see. Now, what we did know last time out was Fredericks had picked up a calf strain. So we're led to believe that he won't be making the game tomorrow. We obviously know Vladimir Sofal will be out because he's obviously had his groin injury, and we're not too sure on his return date. And from apart from the kind of usual suspects, we don't really think there's any other knocks from that team. So I'm going to come on to the team in a minute when we go to choose the team and we can dissect and talk about individual players, etc. He did briefly talk about Yarmolenko. He was asked about Yarmolenko, how he is, and he said he did a bit of light training yesterday. I had a good chat with him. He's really upset with the whole situation, which many people are, so we won't rush him. I've asked him to come in today, so we'll see how he feels. If he's fine, he'll travel with the team. If he's not, we'll give him some more days off. It's a daily ongoing thing. We'll give him a chance to go on with his own feelings. He's got family members in Ukraine and friends, and he's worried for everybody, and he realizes the difficulty that's going on and how he's a long way away and how that will he can't do a lot about it. He's upset, and quite rightly so. He said it's really a difficult situation for us, because we'd like to offer him more help and more support if we can. I think the world's trying to give Ukraine as much support as they can because none of us want to go to war with any country. We're speaking to Andre most days, and the players at the club were great with him yesterday, trying to get him back in and make him and his family know we're thinking about them. Football is such a powerful tool all around the world. Every continent watches the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League. And because of that, I really think it's important that we take action and make sure Russia are isolated completely. Not a politician, but it's how I feel about the football side. So just on that, from that, we're led to believe it's just a day-by-day process with Yarmolenko. We wish him all the best. We wish everyone in Ukraine all the best. And fingers crossed this can get resolved sooner rather than later. It's not looking like that, but hopefully it can. But for the mentality of the player, of course, he's not going to be right, lads. Of course, he's not going to be there or thinking in the right space of mind. But I mentioned earlier on today, sometimes people can kind of, it's not grieve, maybe it is a form of grieving. Some people throw themselves into work and that's how they deal with it. And some people do the opposite, which is recluse themselves back and have time to process. If Yarmolenko goes, is he a player that would be starting this game? And I'll put this one to you, Luke, first.
It's quite interesting because Zinchenko started tonight for Man City.
Yeah,
against Peterborough, and it's like Guardiola said, it's better for him. They've had a chat, and Guardiola has advised him to play football because he thinks it will do better for his mental state. Yarmolenko, the difference is Zinchenko's more of a first-team player than Yarmolenko's in our team. He would be likely, in my opinion, to start against Southampton, but it's not a guarantee. If we were away to a team that was in Championship or League One, League Two, or something like that, he would definitely start like he did against Kidderminster. But with Premier League, it's a bit different, and this is big. I'm going to get onto it in a minute when we delve more into the press conference. But the mentality of it is how much does David Moyes want us to progress in this cup? Because Fredericks is out and plays like that, but if he's going to play players who are my point, I put in the bracket of Yarmolenko and Masuaku, them sort of players who aren't going to start, but they might start in lesser games. Would he have started Masuaku and Yarmolenko in this game because they don't get a lot of game time? He's thinking, well, we got the cup, we've got Europa League and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be an interesting game for what he puts out. And I think Yarmolenko would have had a big chance of playing. Like I said, it depends on how seriously he's taking the cup. And that's not to say people have had criticisms of Yarmolenko this season of how poorly he's played. I myself have tried to back him up, but I think he's out of his depth a little bit this season performance-wise. This obviously has nothing to do with football. It's to do with other stuff aside from it. But I think he probably would have started, but it's a difficult one. It's really difficult because you kind of go, well, would he be good enough really? Would Moyes have gone, no, you're good enough to start? Because he brings enough play. He brings him on enough against Premier League teams as a bench, so maybe he would have done. I think he probably would have started. Short answer to it, but given a long answer to it, yeah.
No, that's fine. No, I get it, and it's a difficult one. It's a really difficult one to talk about because obviously we're not in that situation. However, I said earlier on, when you're not in the situation and you feel about it the way you feel about it, let alone having some family connections or friend connections, your head's going to be all over the shop, really, isn't it? And it's not a nice position to be in. But we wish him all the best and all his family all the best, and the whole, hopefully, fingers crossed, the situation can get resolved a lot sooner than later. Now, listen, if you are watching, I want everyone to start commenting with yours. Matt, what are you chopping away on at that board, mate? That table. I can see you chopping away at something.
No, I was just Looking at scores.
He's at it. He's at it over there. So if you are watching,
he's having himself tonight, isn't he? Proper having himself.
yeah, he's in his own land today.
Good on him,
If you are watching, get your predictions in for your starting lineup. Now, this is going to be a tough one, and I'm going to bring it up in a second. So start putting your comments in and let us know who you would like to start. You've got decisions to make between the goalkeepers, Areola, Fabianski. You've got left back, right back to decide. Formation. Does Moyes stick with formation he played with against Wolves? Does he rest Antonio? Does he put Yarmolenko on the field? Does Bowen play up top? Does he change the midfield quadruplet team? And does he play Benrahma? Does Kroll get a look in? Do any of the young players get a look in? So start putting them in the comments, and then myself, Matt, and Luke will start dissecting the team and seeing who is going to start. So name your starting 11. Right, so this is where we can get into the real nitty gritty and start discussing the players. So let's get into the goalkeeper first and foremost. The cup goalkeeper has been Areola as of late. Take yourselves back to Kidderminster, though. I mean, it wasn't the most competent or confident of performances. But Matt, over to you, mate. Who starts in goal?
If we go by Moyes' logic, it will be Areola, right? You know, he's not getting looking in the league because Fabianski's the league goalkeeper. So by that same logic, and he didn't, much like a lot of the team in that game, he didn't deal with the conditions well. You know, I'm pretty sure we've seen him in the games on a better surface and he's played a better time of it. I don't think it'll be anywhere near as intimidating or difficult to play a game at Southampton than it was at Kidderminster. For the situation it was, I think he'll start him.
Yeah, I agree as well. Over to you, Luke, mate. What do you think?
Yeah, Areola.
Areola. Let's just fire him in there. Now, the biggest decision, I suppose, that we're probably going to be able to see or will see for tomorrow's game is, does Moyes stick with a similar formation as to how he played against Wolves, which was the 5 at the back, obviously the 3 centre-halves, and the support mechanism that was offered to the striker. Now, we'll come on to the strikers in a minute, but if we talk about formation, and look, I'll put this one to you. We're away at the St. Mary's against Southampton, who are on a run and are looking like playing well and are on form. What do you do to nullify that threat in the FA Cup?
Before I go any further, I swear you've just done a magic trick, because before we moved on the slide, you were wearing Harry Potter glasses and you had a dark background. You've taken off the glasses and you've got On Air in the back and West Ham is in the background.
That has been there the whole time, mate.
I didn't even read it. Well, that's just either not with it or you're just a magician in disguise. Anyway, I think we'll go with tried and trusted for, I want to say 2-3-1. And I think with the Southampton, the way they'll play, they might go with an Adams, Brozier, and Armstrong. But then again, it also depends how much Hassan Hüttl wants to take the cup seriously. So whether he plays his top players, then that changes your formation as well, because then you start thinking, well, who do I want to counterbalance that? But I'm going to go with the one we played, the formation we played. We normally do 4-2-3-1, whatever it is.
Matt, to you.
I think he'll keep the 5 at the back thing he had going on.
I think he will as well.
Well, fuck you too.
Only because it worked. Because it worked.
Yeah.
And you saw, I mean, I've read sort of highlights. It looked like it allowed the team to be more high pressing. It allowed further up the pitch. It gave more options, more sluddy as well. He said he was trying something, and it clearly worked to an extent. So I think he will keep it. It's just,
and I think the mindset in keeping it though is consistency. There's no point in us trying to beat about the bush. Yeah. He talks about consistency all the time. So he's changed something. He's been so consistent in one way for such a long time, and now he's changed it, and it worked. And we look like a better unit moving forward and a better unit defensively. I can see why away from home, especially against Southampton, when we need to try and get the victory over the line, why we would want to stick to that formation. And because it's 2 that outweighs 1, look, we win the formation battle, so we're going with 5 at the back. As simple as that, mate. So apologies for that. Right, players to consider in the centre-half roles are as follows. We've got Dawson, we've got Zuma, we have Diop, we have Creswell, who of course sits in a back 3 nicely. But I'm bringing them in. I'm bringing them in for the sake of bringing them in. Baptiste, and we've got Alessi. Now, I'm going to start this one with you, Matt. No point in us putting the 2 young lads in the centre-half positions because that's not going to happen, is it?
No. He made a comment the other day about he didn't expect to get a lot of kids in for the rest of the season, so I can't imagine. Moyes wouldn't say that if he had any sort of consideration. So the fact that he said it almost like entirely rules him out.
Yeah. So then, based upon not using the young players, then look, if we are going with the back 5, and the selection was in the week, we saw Dawson, we saw Zuma, and we saw Creswell. Do you see that being the same, or would you rest 1 or 2 or any of those players?
I would personally like to see Zuma dropped, and I would like to see Diop take his place. And that is not me saying that Zuma has played poorly. That's not me having an agenda against him because of the cat situation. That is me saying that I think Diop played well against Leicester. They got an assist. And I think when he come on, the very, very few minutes that he did against Wolves, put a tackle straight away, I think he's going to kind of need to get his confidence back up. And I think this is the perfect game to do it. Dawson's playing well, hasn't put a foot wrong in all season, really. And I think Zuma, it's his knee for me, Zuma. I don't really want us to overwork him. I think when he went down against Wolves, okay, he got back up again and stuff, but I'm a bit like Antonio with him. I'm a bit on tender hooks, and I think to myself, well, you know what? Diop's had his pelters this season. He's had his critics, and he's deserved them because he's been very, very poor this season, mostly. But I think the way he played against Leicester, he's one of our best players, and I think he deserves to have a bit of a second chance. If you get what I mean, and I think that we don't need to overwork Zuma. I think
you're right. I think you make a point there, though. Do we actually need to play Zuma in this game? If Moyes has got the confidence in what Diop is capable of doing, and listen, at the end of the day, on top of that, people might laugh at what I'm about to say, but I think Diop made a 3 to 4 minute appearance on Sunday against Wolves, and what he did in that 4 minutes, one particular tackle, is enough to pay dividends in his brain and his mindset. He took the ball on the player, and it was at the right time, at the right moment to stop them from counter-attacking. And add that to the Leicester performance, like you said. Look, like I can see Diop coming back in. Is that dangerous though, Matt?
Well, funny thing is, I was about to say I can see Diop coming back in,
right?
But I wasn't going to say for Zuma.
Oh, right, okay. For who?
I was going to say for Dawson.
Because you're hearing that Dawson has been playing with a knock.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's an old school centre half, mate. And that's normal for guys like him. So I don't see that.
We're dropping Zuma, who, from what I've read, was man of the match against Wolves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And we're dropping him on the basis that he's got a dodgy knee that's not injured. But we're going to quite happily make the guy play that is injured to rest the guy that's not injured.
Yeah.
That's where my head's at right now. I'm like, I heard that Diop had a good few minutes to come on. He done well with course. Everyone forgets he had that really good game against Leicester as well. So he is building his confidence back up. You know, he had that step away. But yeah, I think it personally wouldn't surprise me if he does just start the entire back 3 that is sitting there right now.
Yeah. I mean, Mandy's saying here 2 games away from the semi-finals of the FA Cup, Matt. And the thing I'll say about Diop potentially starting there is that, in actual fact, I don't think Diop is much of a calamity when he's got Dawson and Creswell either side of him, 2 competent players. I think when Dawson struggles is when it's a change of either consistently changing the team. So if we remember back earlier in the season, Diop was performing really well in Europa League and in the FA Cup and all the cup competitions, Carabao Cup, etc. And then when things changed was when Creswell got injured, Zuma got injured, and then he was having to play inconsistently with different players in the side, and that because he's a confidence defender, he never took to that well, and he was starting to panic. So, for me, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is the right thing to play Zuma. I mean, if we go by the history of the FA Cup and all the cup competitions, Moyes pretty much puts out borderline full strength teams. So, what do we do? What do we do? This is the question, and I'll put this in the chat: Zuma or Diop for the starting 11. You get the comments in. What are we doing, no lads? What are we doing? Because we need to move on.
Well, Cresswell definitely starts, but it's the other two you could flip a coin.
If you're saying Diop starts,
I think we seem to have agreed. I think we seem to have agreed that Diop starting. It's just flip a coin, or you want to drop off for resting.
Well, Dawson's starting, so there you go.
Yeah. Dawson, Diop, and as well for me.
Two outweighs the one. So there you go.
Go I'm not. Yeah.
Right, Fornals had a fantastic performance out on the left wing against Wolves. Do you see that being an option, or do we change that up?
I was going to say, if you want the formation, it'd have to be him, surely.
What do you think, Luke?
I'd like to see Masuaku play there personally, but
apparently he's in the training pictures today, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near playing the game. So I don't.
Of course, he's been injured, isn't he? Sorry, no.
Yeah.
It will be. It's going to be Fornals, isn't it? Fornals is like the engine, even if he doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
Moyes is just going to kick him in the arse and go, "No, you're starting, boy." So he's just going to be Fornals, really, isn't it? Cool,
excellent. Then on the right hand side, we've got really only two options. I think you could say here. You've got Ben Johnson, who I think do you know what? I'm delighted for the young lad because I actually think he's been a fantastic player for us this year, and borderline pretty hard. Yeah, probably borderline harsh when he was rested again, and maybe had to switch sides when Soufal came back. But it's great, and I think he's really effective in there. He's strong going forward, strong at coming back, and I think it's fantastic. The other option you do have is Ashby, because in theory Johnson is our only fit fullback, but we want to try and go out and win this cup. So if we want to try and win this cup, you've got to go all out and put out your best players, do you not, surely? So therefore, that is Ben Johnson, is it not? No?
Well, yeah, but then that thought process doesn't really work if you've just chosen the defence base that you're taking Zuma, aren't you? So there is that school of thought that you pick your best players out, but then you kind of have to sort of tweak that and go with the best team for this game. And I think Ashby will be on the bench. But I don't think he will start, and I think Johnson will start because Johnson's young and fit, and doesn't seem to have any injury problems at the minute. And I think he's got to keep his momentum as well. And they're going to have pacey players, I think, down the wing. So his pace is going to be needed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, let's move into this centre midfield pairing. We've got potato salad and rice, of course, performing week in and week out. Some people, saying that Soucek needs to be rested. I'm not on that. I'm totally not in that team whatsoever. I'm completely satisfied. With what Soucek is.
I was, and I have been in that team. I'm still in that team. However, the guy you just put on the picture, might as well just delete him off the fucking database. Like, he don't exist in Moyes' eyes, Alex Kraft. So there's no point in even being there. All right.
Delete him off the database. Love that.
Soucek can have a broken leg and he'd still come out there on crutches and Crowell be sitting on the bench. Right.
Brilliant. You're not even on the system, mate. You're not even on it. Where's your wages? What wages? You don't deserve them.
Right. So we're fully not expecting to see Alex Kroll then, are we?
No.
Right, apologies, everyone. I didn't realise Ashby. I totally forgot Ashby was injured, so apologies about that one.
This is why comments are important, because they show us up for the real amateurs that we are.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we'll get Kroll off there. Noble?
Not for me. I would pick Lanzini to take the place of Soucek, because despite his goal, and people can disagree with me in the comments all they like, I don't really care. Or I don't mind. Rather, that's a more diplomatic way to say it. I thought he was atrocious against Wolves, especially in the first half. Every ball he played was.
I think I didn't get to see the game. But you said that. But like in the post match, like Moyes was like, "Oh, it was one of his best games in ages."
Oh, what is he looking
And
at?
I seen your comment, Luke, the other day in the chat, and I was gonna go at you, and I thought I don't have the energy because it was gonna be if I went at you, it was gonna be an all nighter, and then everyone was gonna come in, and I know we miss that sometimes in the chat, and that's what we want, but
How?
I don't see.
We played the whole team. It was a vastly improved performance, right? Vastly improved, fantastic. The pressing game was on point. It was fantastic, right? But every time, A, Suchek got the ball, he basically gave it away. B, a player went even near him, the old Suchek would have just taken him out clean, won the ball, on we go. Just walked past Suchek. He was a passenger. He was invisible. I was honestly, I love Suchek. I think he's a fantastic bloke. He's been a fantastic signing for West Ham, but he has just progressively got worse this season. And I was just thankful he got his goal because it'll give him confidence. Hopefully, it'll get him back. But he was terrible, especially in the first half.
Oh mate, no.
What games
But you're
has he
saying
got?
you're saying put Lanzini in there. I'm not saying that, and I think if we go by what Moyes has done all season, I think we're going to see these two lads
See,
stuck in there again.
I'm going to say I wouldn't be adverse to giving Suchek a rest, but I would not put Lanzini in there.
So who would you put in?
Because
then?
we've already seen what happens when you put Lanzini in there against the team that's going to attack. We've done it against Leeds, and
Yes, he was. Lanzini had a good game.
And we got absolutely torn to shreds. You know, like they've literally won once in the last like 10 games. It's against us. The form's been so dire since they beat us that Bielsa got sacked. Right? And that was almost purely down to the fact that Moyes decided to play Lanzini as a holding midfielder in an open end-to-end game, which is what I really think this will be tomorrow. I think it will be Souček and Rice, but the only thing I could say is that he may be tempted to drop rest Souček and chuck Noble in there.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I can't see it, to be honest. I still think he's going to
I
do
can't.
it.
I'm just hypothetical if he was going to do it.
If you're in the chat,
I don't. I think it'll be the two of them.
Who are the two centre midfielders that are playing in that role? I'm saying Souček and Rice. Matt, what are you saying?
I'm going to say Souček and Rice.
Lukey boy?
No, just left field here. Noble isn't actually a bad choice in this game, I don't think. Not saying he had a brilliant game, but I think for the type of situation here, the type of match it is, I don't think it'd be a sort of the most unexpected players we included. But for me, I would put Lanzini in front of Souček. That's just me.
Right.
There you go.
Okay. Well, 2 beats 1, so there you go. Again.
This is back and forth, back and forth. This is
tonight, it is. Right. Okay. So we've got 8 players in the team. We need 3 more players in the team. So let's move into the player, I suppose, really in the whole. I'm going to bring out all the kind of forward players that can play in the last 3 positions, so we can kind of discuss them and rule them out as we go along. Really. So we've got a choice here of Yarmolenko. Again, we probably won't know. That will be a late decision. With whether or not he actually travels. You've got Vlasic, Antonio, Bowen, Benrahma, and Lanzini. So if we are playing with this formation and this team that's already sitting there below these lads, who goes out on the right?
For me, it's between. Oh, this is why you changed the formation now. It doesn't really work in my head. It's probably gonna be Bowen. But I can see Benrahma and Vlasic being in there somewhere, but it doesn't really work out because, and I know we're not there yet, but he's obviously probably most likely going to play Antonio, which I think is a wrong decision, by the way. But Bowen will more than likely play there or thereabouts, and then it'll be Benrahma or Vlasic, and this is why yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? Probably be Bowen on the right, and I would play Vlasic up top, but he'll go with Antonio for me. But we're not there yet. So it's fine.
What do you think, Matt?
See, I'm already skipping to the middle part. Like Luke said, I think the centre forward then picks sort of what the rest of the team is.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I really am tossing and turning. I agree. Look, Bowen will be in that front 3 somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a case of who's going where, who's getting picked.
Well, Right, I'm going to go in. I think Ben Rama. I think it's a no-brainer. I think Ben Rama's going to play tomorrow. I think it's, I can't see how he's not. He's in and around the first team. 1 week he's in it, 1 week he's out of it. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal really by him playing in the team. But I can see him starting the game. Can you, Matt?
I don't think he will.
Right. Okay. Who do you think will then?
I think it'll be Lanzini.
And Lanzini will play in the hole.
I think. For a while, Moyes was like literally chopping and changing them every game because he was trying to play someone into form because neither of them were in form. And it was like, right, you got a chance this week. And I think it literally went, didn't it? Like Ben Rama started the game, Lanzini come off the bench, Lanzini played well. Then Lanzini started the next game, he didn't have a great game, and then Ben Rama come off the bench and he played well. And then Ben Rama started the Newcastle game because there was no Lanzini. And Ben Rama didn't have a great game, and then Lanzini come back in for the Wolves game and had a very good game. So I would say he'd probably stick with Lanzini.
Okay. What do you think? Right, so we're going Lanzini in the hole then. Who's out in the right? Bowen? You've got to have some substance behind this. Yeah, and then out in the left.
Vlasic.
Really? That's big changes there. Some big changes. I mean, they go everyone. It's not
going to be. It's going to be Antonio, but you know what? I'm just going to chuck his name out there.
Yeah. I honestly see Ben Rama starting though. I really do.
Because and I don't actually see that's only like 2 changes from the team that started against Wolves. And we've seen in the FA Cup that Moyes will make like little tweaks. He'll make like 1 or 2 or 3 changes, but he'll keep the core of the team.
Yeah.
And he'll try and keep the way we're playing the formation. So the changes you would suggest in that team, like you've made a couple of changes and then you've still got options. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Antonio. Yeah. I'm just trying to like maybe save Antonio over the second half.
Look, I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't play Lanzini in this game. I think I would probably want to save him for the Liverpool game, and I'd want to be giving Ben Rama the run out to see if he's capable of stepping up to the plate again. And he's desperately, he's a confidence player, and being given that kind of free role in the middle of the park could be really good. And if we do decide to play with the false 9, I could actually see this game tomorrow being the right game to do it, away from home with 5 at the back. We've done it before, and I'm not saying it's definitely going to be those particularly 3 players, but I think Antonio won't start the game tomorrow. And I agree with this comment. I agree with this comment though. Look, Lanzini's just come back from injury. Why would Moyes play Lanzini? But what were you going to say, Luke? Sorry, mate.
Well, no, I was literally, that was one sentence. When I hope you're right. I think that playing Antonio would I think he needs a rest. But that comment about Lanzini coming back from injury and why would he play him? Well, he's played players before when they've just come back from injury, so that kind of makes no difference to Moyes. It seems to be, if you're fit enough to be on the bench, you're fit enough to start, which is fair enough. And it seems to be sort of working in the long run. I just would have liked it to have been. That doesn't, whatever works. If this formation works, then obviously who am I to moan? Who am I to judge? It's just I feel like the way that he plays, Moyes, with his tems. Yes, we won at the weekend. We played well. It is starting to become predictable. And if we can predict it, I mean, this what we've chosen now. This is good. This is a good side. There's no doubt about it. Ben Rama coming back, he might have a point to prove and stuff like that. And Lanzini going up top could change the way we play. It's fantastic. But I think you both will agree that as much as Moyes has got 95% of his West Ham career, every team selection bang on, we normally get a result or at least a performance or something like that. It is the last 10 games have been a bit shaky, and it's like, well, he needs to change it. And we play really well against Wolves on Sunday, but who's to say that's going to carry on for the next game if he just carries on playing the same team? So I like that formation. Hopefully he does play something like that or similar. To pressure up a little bit.
And I think the biggest thing we're probably noticing with this is choosing the team is getting harder each week we do it, especially now that he's decided to change the formation. Now we're in the cup and, players are the formation seems to have worked against Wolves. So it'll be interesting. We don't really know the team. And the benefit of, the funny thing is looking at the chat, you've got people completely agreeing and disagreeing within the same comment. Lanzini played well, Lanzini didn't. Souček played well, Souček didn't. And it's so funny how people interpret when they watch a game, isn't it?
It is. There's the comments on here saying Lanzini didn't play that well. I'm not going to disagree or agree with that. The thing that people got to realise a little bit is a little bit like Antonio when he comes in the team. It's not just about how he plays, it's how he makes us play. We tend to play better as a team when Lanzini is playing because he links up play so much better than putting another player in there. So he might not do much, he might not play that many great balls or do whatever. I personally think he did. I thought he had a great game against Wolves, but it's not just his performance, it's how he makes us play. When Antonio plays up top, we seem to have more of a focal point up top. He might not be playing that well at the moment, but he sort of justifies his inclusion because we seem to have that focal point up top that we don't normally have if he doesn't play. So it's whether people are right or wrong or whatever, it's not solely about how they play, it's how and then I'm realising while I'm talking I'm possibly contradicting myself because of the way I've been slagging off Souček. So yeah, I need to shut the fuck up.
The problem is, like you said, Souček is like a box to box, and you can get other box to box players. But like even what I've seen and what I was reading about the game is that Lanzini does the one thing that no one else in this team can do, and it's something that Benrahma should do very easily, and he just doesn't, which is occupy the space between players. He occupies, like when we're trying to. If you go back and you think to like the Newcastle game when we didn't have Lanzini, our outlet ball was try and get the fullbacks forward or pump it long, because no one would drop short in the space between the midfield and the strikers to pick up the ball and turn and go. Lanzini, if you think it's like a diamond or a square, there's that big space in the middle. If you think two centre forwards and two centre mids, right? Whichever shape, there'll be that big space in between the four of them. And if you're playing centre attacking mid, you need to drop in that space to pick up the ball because you've broke the line and now you can spread the ball and play. Benrahma doesn't do that. Benrahma likes to drift and come out from wide and drift in, but he just likes to go and run. He won't occupy that space and then get the ball forward, which is what Lanzini was doing against Wolves. And that just all of a sudden means that instead of when we were playing a 4-2-3-1, half the time, and like you said, Souček's passing hasn't been great this season. So when the guy that's trying to spray the passes about is Souček, you're going to struggle. When you've got Lanzini's vision ability, it changes the game.
I want to quickly address the comment from Hammerhead, and I completely agree with it. Lanzini may not do a lot on the ball sometimes, but he pulls strings and men out of position, and we capitalise on that. Anyone who watches the game and knows it will see Manu Game is more intelligent, and he is a really intelligent player. I actually think he done both on the game against Wolves. However, what I did say, if you watch the ratings show, is that he did do that. It's what he does off the ball that creates problems, open up space, and he's such a intelligent, good word, best word we've probably had for him, is such an intelligent player, has become so effective for West Ham. It's just now a case of managing him through each game. So can he play 2 games a week? Can he do this? Can he do that? But I think I'm delighted for him, to be honest. I'm delighted for him that he's back in and doing what he's capable of doing. Listen, we do need to move on though. So if you are watching, get your predictions in for the game tomorrow in the FA Cup 5th round. The prize is a game in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So put your predictions in the chat. Now, I'm starting to see some old names in the chat that haven't been here for a while. Deckers, where have you been, mate? Where have you been? I think I know where you've been, son. He's been
getting every train from here to Edinburgh.
But he's one of the old school mods, and now he's off gallivanting, watching other channels. I'm only joking. I'm only messing. You're allowed to do what you want.
He's not.
Anyway. If you are watching, get your predictions in the chat. And good news is the West Ham Weekly is going live in. I've done a stell. He said it would be 9:45. It's now 9:55. It's probably going to be 10 o'clock. So if you are watching still, it's probably going to be 10 o'clock. So straight after this show, you'll be going live with the West Ham Weekly, and we're going to be stopping in 4 minutes.
I changed again. It's Monday night.
Oh, mate, he's not going to go live
mate.
at 9:45 anyway.
Honestly, mate. Honestly. Anyway, Matt, predictions for the game tomorrow.
2-1.
2-1. West Ham. Love it. Right, go on then. Lucky boy.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go for a reverse of when they played us at home. So I'm gonna go 3-2 West Ham. It could have a classic FA Cup night to it. Do you remember the Everton West Ham game? We went to penalties and Adrian took off his gloves and scored. I'm predicting it's going to be one of the games we've got to predict us to win, haven't you? And I'm actually going to do something which I've been telling myself, and my brother has been telling himself to do for the last few weeks. Put Dawson as first goal scorer, because it's going to be worth a lot of money, that, and it's not too delusional to say. So I don't know who else can get the goals. Don't know who's going to start, because you've blown me out of the water with your team prediction earlier. So my bet is Dawson will start. So Dawson will score a goal at some point, probably, hopefully first goal scorer if a bit goes well. But for me, 3-2 to the Hammers, and we go for it. I don't know about you, but it takes forever to get to the FA Cup final. It just seems endless rounds, one after the other.
It's just like the Europa League, isn't it?
It's like round 74. We've got Shrewsbury away or something. It's just ridiculous.
I'm gonna go with 3-1 West Ham. A confident 3-1 West Ham. It's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna go with a half glass full West Ham fan that I am. Let me jump through the chat and see what everyone else is saying for their predictions. Jonathan Boyce is saying 2-1 close game to us. Mark Alexander saying 3-2 West Ham. There you go. Robert Singleton saying 3-1 West Ham. 2-1 from Liam Edwards to West Ham. I can see this going to penalties, 1 each from Mandy. Howard Ailes is saying 1-0 Dawson. Hammerhead saying Manu works better in a 3-man midfield at the front of the triangle, so he can drop dead when Suchek or Rice go forward. Simple as pie. Steve Bell, 2-1 West Ham. Come on, you Irons. Andrew WHTID Faulkner, 2-2 Desmond. Hammers win it in extra time. Can't believe you aired my Michelle Hansen shout out.
I saw that. No, I saw that, and I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he did, rather.
I'm trying to find where the comments were again here.
No,
Daniel Stewart
just go
saying 2-1 West Ham. I don't want extra time. 3-2 West Ham from Dabs. Adam Cook saying 1-0.
Yeah, there will be.
What? Yeah.
Is there extra time?
There will be, because there's no replays.
The score's going to be 3-2 either way, I reckon. James Bong saying 2-0 West Ham. No, Deckers is saying, no, I love you guys. Just been going live myself on random a lot. Hey, no, we've had sources close to the club saying that it's not that you're going live, it's because you're looking on other channels and commenting, Deckers. But you're allowed to, mate. I'm just having a little bit of a wind up. And Neil is saying 1-0 Rice. He will pop in. Let's have it. Freshfielder is saying boys will want to keep momentum and the winning mentality, hoping a strong lineup and a 3-1 win. Paul Evans is saying 2-0 West Ham. Toby Sampson saying 2-1 Yarmouth, super emotional winner. Bloody hell, only 25 hours late still. Zoomer to score for me. 2-2, then Pens 4-2 to West Ham. We are massive.
That's a very specific prediction.
Joan, I'm not optimistic, but Hart says 2-1 West Ham. No extra time, please. I could see the stress. Paul Flower saying 1-0 after 90 minutes. West Ham to win on penalties. So many comments in here. Deckers, I'm winding you up, mate. I'm winding you up. It's fine. Listen, thanks for watching. I better go because, you know, the diva will be having a hissy fit. And yeah, yeah, exactly.
Love you still. That hurt me.
So if you are watching, thanks for watching. Go across, check out the West Ham Weekly. Stay safe, subscribe to the channel, and come on, you Irons. Take it easy.
Good to